Hi, Leah.
Hi, Kamna.
I
Gosh, I feel
am,
like I just saw you, but I feel like we haven't recorded in a while.
we haven't. It's
But we
been
have.
a hot minute. Yeah.
Maybe things are just crazy.
Things are busy. It's that time of
Yeah,
year.
you're right. You're right.
So
So,
that lends perfectly to our topic today, which is, are you lazy?
oh my gosh, for a minute I went, oh my gosh, what's our topic? I completely blanked out. Oh, see, it's just tough. Anyway, yeah, lazy. This is a hot button topic for you, I feel like.
Well, it's not just a hot button topic, but in our call to action groups, I've heard so
Yep.
many people say, I'm just lazy. I can't do that. I'm just lazy. I can't work out. I'm just lazy. I can't drink the water.
I
So,
would say 3 people a week say that.
oh, at least.
Yep. And every time that somebody says it, I look right at you. And I'm like, I can't wait to see her face.
Well, I don't think it's a fair word for to describe
Yeah. And I
ourselves.
can't wait to hear more about that and what you think we should use instead.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. That's a
So,
good question.
so anyway, but before we get into that, how was your call to action? What was it, by the
Um,
way?
my call to action was to do the 3 times a week of strength training. I
Oh,
took
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
measurements. I did have a question for you. You had said waist, hips, abdomen,
Arms,
arms, and thigh.
thigh.
And aren't waist and abdomen the same thing or no?
Um, they are not, but I don't know the exact definition.
Okay, because I was like, well,
Waist
maybe it's
is, I don't know the
waist is
difference.
like above your belly button, and then
Maybe
abdomen is around your
like
belly
right
button.
above your hip bone.
Okay. Well, I did it.
Maybe.
I took all 5 measurements,
Okay. I can't wait to find out what
but
happens.
I had a little pause because I had a minor, very minor medical procedure, but I'm not allowed to exercise. So I'm on pause with the whole activity thing
They
piece
don't
of
want you
this.
exercising at all.
No, I'm not supposed to sweat. I've been
Really?
walking a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so you could do Pilates because you don't really sweat with that.
Well, I don't want to strain my
Yeah.
skin.
Okay. Walking would be good then.
It's just a pause.
Okay. I like that word.
Yeah.
Does it
I'm
bother you?
well, not doing anything drives me crazy. If I
Okay.
had to just sit around and do nothing, I know it kind of goes perfectly with our topic
Oh, it
today.
does.
It it makes me crazy to just have to sit and relax. Everybody says, just sit down and relax and don't worry about it. I got it. I can get it for you. It drives me nuts.
Mm. So it
And
doesn't really necessarily have anything to do with exercise, just the whole point of the fact that you're not supposed to be running around like crazy is
yes.
hard. Gotcha.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
But I did take the measurements and I know that was the biggest challenge for me. And you asked me why I was hesitating. It's honestly because I don't know how to take my measurements,
I know.
and then you have to hold the tape like in an awkward position. And then that's all, that's just awkward. And then
Yeah.
the second thing is, I don't think I really wanted to see the numbers, to be frank.
Yeah.
But maybe when I take the measurements again, I'll be like, oh, great. There was
Yep.
a change.
That's the hope, right?
Yes, yes.
But also you're having a pause on your activity, so you can't be hard on yourself the next time you take
No,
it.
I'm not at all.
Yeah. You have to remember that though.
Yes.
Okay. I'll
How
remind you.
about you? How was yours?
So mine was to leave a bite or two after whenever I eat.
Oh, yeah.
And I, this is what I decided. If my dog is right next to me, I have no problem leaving a bite because I consciously just say, "You're getting my last bite," and I give it to him.
Yeah.
I don't know why it is really hard for me to do. But what I did realize is I'm eating whatever I have for myself, regardless of if I'm not even paying attention to my full level. I'm just eating it. Whatever I packed for lunch, I'm just eating all of it. I'm not
Okay.
paying attention to it. And I would catch myself saying, like, dang it, I just finished my entire thing and didn't even leave one bite. And then I would immediately say, and I am probably overly full. Does that make sense?
Yes. So
So
what
I
would are you doing anything different with that
no,
realization?
I don't really know how to like today this morning I had like overnight oats with strawberries in it and I ate the whole thing and then after I ate the whole thing I was like I really should have left like two bites cuz I was beyond full.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just not stopping. I don't my brain and my stomach are broken that connection.
Well,
They
could it
don't
be,
I don't let me say I don't think they're broken. I just don't think I pause long enough to let them talk.
do you think it's because you feel like you have so many things to do that eating just has to get done?
Yeah, I'm sure. And I'm in a hurry when I'm eating it.
Yeah. Do
I want
you
to hurry
like,
up and eat it to get the next thing done.
are you enjoying your food at all?
I mean, I'm enjoying it more than I used to, I would say,
Okay. That
but
makes
not
sense.
enjoying it where you're sitting down and loving it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
No.
You're just too busy right now.
Yeah, and it's just dumb stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my gosh, well, when I eat breakfast, I got to hurry up and get to work or be at work while I'm eating it. Lunch is the same thing. And at home, it's like I got to hurry up and finish that so I can finish cleaning up from dinner and do this and do that. So it's just not a good time of life to practice any of it. I mean, no, I should practice it, but not beat myself up for it.
Well, that's true for everything, right? We don't need to
Yeah.
beat ourselves up. On a
Good
path of
point.
we're on a
Good
path of
point.
self-discovery and constant improvement. And we tell people this every week. We're going to
Yeah.
backslide and it's fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I backslid either. So I mean, overall, I'm all right with it. I just need to take my dog everywhere with me. And he loved it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. So, but anyway, that was it.
Dogs are good for that.
Mm-hmm. All right. So let's go into this week.
So what comes to your mind when you think of someone being lazy?
When I think of someone being lazy, I think of somebody just laying on the couch.
Would you consider yourself lazy? I guess by your just what you said a second ago, no.
No, I think I can be lazy,
Hmm.
but actually, it's interesting. I have to actually tell myself, I think you need to be lazy today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. No, more than that, I have to say it's okay to just be lazy today
Really?
or right now.
So you have to convince
I kind
yourself?
of have to give myself permission.
Oh, so interesting. Do you feel like it's okay to be lazy?
Yeah, to some degree, to some degree.
Hmm.
What about
Yeah.
you? Are
Um,
you?
I would not say that I'm a lazy person. I think I have lazy moments.
Yes.
And I do the same thing. I give myself permission to have those lazy moments because of
Hmm.
whatever. I'm tired or I just don't feel like doing something.
Hmm.
But when I
That,
was sorry, you go ahead.
no, go ahead.
When I was looking into this, I was like, there's some interesting reasons why we choose not to do something. And then we end up labeling ourselves as lazy, but really
Hmm.
that's not a fair word.
No, I mean, I don't really know if there's ever a time and it's a fair word.
Hmm.
Because I think of lazy as somebody who doesn't get up and go to work and doesn't and never really even worked. I mean, retired is totally different. Or somebody who just lays around literally all day and they have no medical reason to. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Do you ever judge somebody else for being
Yeah,
lazy?
yeah, I do. I'm not, yeah, I mean, I will say it out loud. I've judged my husband for being lazy. I have said to my kids, you guys are lazy. Yeah, I have said it and thought it about other people probably too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh yeah. I've done that
Are
too.
you, are you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
But it's more so for the people that I live with,
I
you
know.
know. They've been sitting for many, many hours. I'm like, that's really lazy. You should get up and do something else and walk around at least, or,
Mhm.
you know.
But it's not, I know we're going to say this 100 times. It's not really a fair word because overall, the people that I do say this about that that are closer to me, I know they're not lazy. They're having lazy moments,
Right.
you
Right.
know? And I don't
That's
know how else to say it besides they're having lazy moments.
why do you think that if we are lazy, we don't want to be judged, but why do we judge somebody else for being lazy?
Well, because I want something done. That's why I
Oh,
judge
okay.
somebody. It's like, I want this done and you're not doing it. So now you're lazy.
That makes
That's
sense.
that's why I would say that about and anybody. Like if there's somebody at work that I see and I'm thinking that in my head or saying that they're lazy, it's because I'm like, they're not doing this and I need it to be done or it should be done. Like that's
Mhm.
how I feel.
Yeah.
Like if you told me you just watched a movie all day with your daughter or your husband, I would not call that lazy.
Yeah.
So
For
really the word, now I'm having this moment, really the word lazy when I say it is a reflection of myself. I'm impatient with whatever's going on.
oh, when you say it to somebody else, you're impatient with whatever
Whatever.
they're doing.
Yeah. Hmm.
So
Right. That's it.
if you came home and there was a bunch of dishes in the sink, you would say, "You people are so lazy. Can't you wash your dishes?"
Right.
But only because it's not done according to your timetable.
Right. Hmm.
Mhm. I've done
If
that
it
too.
was done and they were laying around, I would have no problem with it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. I think
So
I was brought up that way. Is like you finish your work and then you can go rest.
yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with that completely. So maybe that's it.
We used to have parties, and as a child, when we would have people over, we had to clean up before we went to bed, and I have inherited that trait. So
Mm.
we clean up everything. You could never tell in the morning that I had a party in my house. It doesn't matter what time it is, it's going to be cleaned up that night. And if you like, people have said to me, why can't we just go to sleep and clean it up in the morning? But to me, that's being lazy. Let's just
Oh
get
my
it
God.
done so I don't have to wake up.
This, you are going to die of laughter because this is no surprise, but we are completely opposite.
Tell me.
Completely. I mean, we always host Thanksgiving. This is just one example. I tell everybody, please don't touch anything. I do my best work in the morning and I will leave everything. I don't care. It all stays, dishes everywhere. It's a disgusting mess. And then within an hour of when I'm up, it is all done and put away like there was never a party. At
Yeah.
night, I don't do my best work, and you do your best work at night.
Well, I think I texted you last year, New Year's Day at 6 a.m. that I'm now going to bed.
Yes. And I
Yes.
was just getting up to clean. Oh, all right. So we got that lazy part out, like the laying on the couch after whatever. But here's the part that I want to talk about. When
Okay.
people say, when they call themselves lazy because they know they should exercise or they know they should be tracking their food or they know they should be doing something self-care and they say, I'm just lazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just lazy. What do you think of that?
Well, I have resistance to this that as we've talked about in the
Yes.
beginning is I feel like it's not like we said, it's not a fair word because if you ask that same person why who says I'm not drinking my water, I'm not doing my exercise, I'm not being mindful of my food, but they are doing 100 other things in their day that they're putting full energy and gusto into, and they're doing it like legitimately. They're not doing it half baked. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when they call themselves lazy about their own intentions, I think it's less laziness and a more I don't have the energy left to do anything for myself.
So it's more about their energy level.
Right? Because to do something for yourself feels indulgent, maybe, or it feels selfish, maybe. So
Mm-hmm.
then you're like, well, I don't want to do it for myself because I still have 10 other things to do for 10 people.
Or do you think they just don't even think of it as for themselves?
Maybe. But I feel like it just feels really indulgent. Like if I
Mm.
was on a weight loss, I am. But if I was serious about it and I was tracking my food and
If you were serious about
well,
it,
let's be
go
honest,
on.
okay? And if I was doing all the things I was supposed to do, it would take a considerable amount of time away from things I should be doing in my other day as a responsible person.
Hmm.
You know, because this is a lot of work. It's not like it just
I know.
happens.
No, it is a lot of work. Doing all of it is a lot of work. And that's what I mean. Like, I don't think of it as self-care, and maybe that's where we need to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't ever consider working out or doing exercise or going for a walk or tracking my food or drinking my water self-care.
Oh, okay.
I don't. I don't consider brushing my teeth self-care. I don't know why. It's just what I have to do.
Yes, that's a good point.
I do think of self-care as like reading a book or playing my game or getting my hair done or by the way, I'm getting my hair done tomorrow, just FYI. Remember that
Yay!
was, I know, finally. But yeah, I don't know. This
I
is a
think
tough topic for me.
part of laziness is, I want to find my notes to do it exactly, but I think there's two parts of this, right? Is one
Okay.
is there, if you call yourself lazy about exercise, it's probably because you don't want to do the exercise and you're just putting it off. So
Mm-hmm.
you're
Mm-hmm.
procrastinating the exercise because you're like, oh, this sounds awful. It sounds terrible. I just don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to work out. I don't want to, whatever, fill in the blank. You just don't want to do it. So you
You're using the
procrastinate
word
it.
lazy when you need to just say, I don't want to do it.
Right. Right. I
Yeah,
was
maybe
reading
that's what
some,
we say instead.
yeah,
Anyway, go ahead.
I was reading something that said that if you're um, painting or gardening or doing jigsaw puzzles, you get so engrossed because you're having
Enjoying it.
fun, you're enjoying it. So then you
Mm-hmm.
you don't feel like that's either a time suck or like you wouldn't consider yourself lazy. If you like being out in the yard, it just feels like wonderful. It's like that's something you need to do for yourself.
So it's almost like we use the word lazy when we're trying to avoid something.
I believe we are. That's what it is
We're
for
not, we're
ourselves.
avoiding exercise. We're avoiding cleaning the house. We're avoiding doing a project around the house.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So instead of saying so and so is lazy, they're avoiding doing the work.
Well, I think there's what we call
Well, there are
ourselves
some, yeah.
and what we call other people.
Yes. Well, what I found was interesting was I was looking at it in a psychological part. Like I really just straight up Googled like why are we working all day and then we get home and we just don't feel like doing anything.
Right.
Like what is that? And it yeah, I know your energy level is down, but a lot of people come home at 4, 5, 6 and they don't go straight to bed.
Right.
So if you were really that tired and your energy was really that depleted, you would be falling asleep the minute your head hit the pillow, I
Right.
think. So I feel like it is more than that. So when I Googled that and looked it up, it was interesting because the psychology says that your brain actually has a trouble separating certain environments. So when you're at home, your brain doesn't know how to associate your home environment with productivity because it's so used to you coming home and
Oh,
that's a place of relaxation. It's
that
a
makes so much
place.
sense.
Your brain knows that this is a comfort place. Your brain knows this is where I come to unwind. Your brain just knows that about your home.
Yes.
I don't really know if there's a way to like fix that or whatever, but I think it's interesting. And maybe it becomes my brain needs to know a certain time. Like my brain should know the minute I get home, yes, this is comfort, but not until 4:30 or something. Like
Oh,
maybe there's ways
that's a
to
good
tell your
plan.
brain.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or I think even
So,
understanding that you're not lazy, you just had a lot of demands put on you the whole day. And maybe you need a half an hour break, to
mm-hmm.
not talk to anybody or not do anything. But then after that half an hour, then you have to get up and feed yourself or feed your dog or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, like you have to do the things.
Yes. Oh,
Um,
interesting about this. This is totally side note, but you're right because my daughter last week was having a rough Monday night. And Monday night I said to her, all right, I'm canceling everything on Tuesday. Every single thing I have on my calendar, we're canceling it. And I said, the minute I pick you up from school, we're gonna sit in bed don't judge. We're gonna sit in bed for a full hour and unwind from the day and eat popcorn. in bed. Don't no judgment because this was a
There's no
special
judgment.
thing, right? And I realized that for her, she needs that 1 hour to unwind. I don't think we were both being lazy at that time at all.
No.
I don't think it was a lazy. We weren't being lazy, but we said it. We're like 1 hour. Then at
Yeah.
4:15, we'll get up and do
Yep.
dishes, do homework, do everything else. But I think it was exciting. It was like we were both looking forward to that 1 hour where we didn't use the word lazy. I called it unwind. I said it's that 1 hour we're going to unwind and do nothing. And
Yes.
maybe that's what some of us need is
Yes.
that dedicated. And if, I mean, you don't like the word lazy, but maybe somebody does. Like maybe somebody's like, I just need a dedicated 1 hour of lazy time to unwind. Tell yourself before you start, I'm going to get up at 4:15.
I don't
You
mind
know?
that if that's the context of it. If you're
Yes.
calling yourself names, I got a problem with that.
Right.
If you're
Right.
saying I'm just having a lazy hour after this, I'm just going to do whatever I need to do. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
I don't like it when it's a derogatory word for yourself because that's not fair. You've worked hard all day. I actually was reading
Right.
something. It said that this is from everydayhealth.com. When people appear to lack motivation, it is because they are exhausted, traumatized, in need of support, or do not see any logical incentive to take part in a task. So they're exhausted. You're
Mm-hmm.
exhausted from the day. Your kids are exhausted, and we expect them to
Yes.
come home and run around and do activities and go here and go there. But everybody has time where their brain is like, please, I'm tired. Please take a
Yeah.
minute.
Yep. Now, and inevitably, there's going to be somebody on here listening that's like you and I said at the beginning, like get all of your work done and then relax.
Mm-hmm.
And that's typically how I am. So this was a hard thing for me to do with my daughter because I do like to get it all done and then sit down and relax.
Yeah.
But I had to step back and realize that for her, that's the first step of what she needs to do. And I think people that are listening, you have to look at yourself and say, I need maybe a lazy time. And then from there, move
You
on.
know, with somebody else though, it's interesting because I told you I was raised like you finish your work and then you sit down. And
Mm-hmm.
I carry that with me to other people, but not everybody operates the same way. Maybe you need a half an
Mm-hmm.
hour after work and then you're going to start your work. Maybe you
Right.
want to sit down and then you'll put the groceries away. But to me, I had it was a hard thing for me to say, okay, my way is not everybody's way, and I need to chill out. And they'll get it done when they get it done. And that's fine.
That's a really hard thing to realize, though,
It's a hard thing
especially
to
when
let
you
go
live with
of.
somebody. When
Yes.
you live with somebody and they're not doing it the way you need to, you're like, you know,
Well, it's so you're going to laugh at this, but I have taught my kids to be efficient and to be clean and to clean as they go. And their whole process is very similar to mine
mm-hmm.
because I feel like that's the right way, but that's
Right.
not the
Well,
right way.
right. Of course, you know the right way, but it's not. You're right. Everybody
It's
has their
not.
own right
It's
way.
not the right way. Yeah, you do it when it's time for you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And we all are so different. It doesn't I read this study and I want to share this because I think it's
Okay.
so
Tell me.
interesting. So it was a study done at the University of Virginia. And, I didn't read the whole study. So if I got the point wrong, that's fine. I'm going to use it for what I want. Okay.
Okay.
Participants were led into a room with no distractions at all. No
Okay.
phone, no screens. They weren't allowed to take a nap and they were left alone for 15 minutes.
So it's just like a blank room.
A blank room.
Okay.
No pictures, nothing. It was just a blank room and probably a chair or something. I don't know.
They were not allowed to take a nap.
No, you can't take a nap. Just sit there.
Okay. All right. Stop right now. I don't
Okay.
know where you're going with this. What would you do?
I think initially I'd be like agitated,
Okay.
but then I'd probably be like, it's fine. It's 15 minutes. I can handle this.
Yeah, I would walk in place. I would be like trying to get my
Yeah.
steps. I'd be like, well, I might as well get my steps. All right. So, okay. Because I was like, well, I would lay down and like take a nap. And then I'm like, once you said that, I was like, okay, now what? All right, go on.
Yeah. So you were forced to relax is what it was.
Oh,
Um
I wouldn't
be-
have done that.
I know. Isn't that interesting? Right
Okay,
there.
go
That's
on.
interesting. Is your reaction before knowing what happens next is, oh my God, that would drive me nuts. I don't know
Yeah.
if I could do that. Okay, so before being left alone, participants were shown how to press a computer key, which was connected to a machine which delivered an electric shock. Okay,
Okay.
this is going to blow your mind.
Okay.
71% of men and 25% of women gave themselves at least one shock. One man gave himself 190 shocks. And you know why?
That's my husband. I guarantee. I don't even know if he was in the study, but if he was doing it. Go ahead.
Do you know why they give themselves a shock?
Are they just that bored? I know. I don't know why.
It turns out having nothing to do is excruciating.
What?
Having nothing to do, no distractions. If you even think about our life now, right? We have the phone and we have our tablets and we have TV and we have constant noise all
Uh-huh.
the time. Like there's always something happening.
So it was at least something
Right. There was
to push
nothing in
that
this
button.
room. Yeah, push that button. I mean, 190 times in 15 minutes, that's kind of ridiculous.
He must have liked it.
Maybe.
I don't know. Okay, so what do you think this all means?
Well, what I took away from this is, obviously some people didn't push the button because they could
Right.
sit and relax. So when you think about even meditation, for some people
Oh,
it's really tough to
it's
sit
very tough for me.
and do nothing.
Yep.
And maybe it feels indulgent, maybe it feels lazy, but it's probably necessary for us to even slow down and remove noise from our environment. That's why I think that meditation piece is so hard because we can't deal with no distractions.
We can't even have 15 minutes of being forced to be lazy.
I mean, you just really, you were thinking, what would I do if I was in a room like that?
Yeah.
You already had a plan going.
Yeah, always. Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's true for most people is we would have a plan of, okay, I'm going to get this done and this done and this done and this done. And like, if the walking doesn't work, then I'm going to do this and I'm going to do, like you have a plan.
Yeah.
Most people would find it really hard to just be still. And
Hmm.
then here's where I went with this
Okay.
because I was really thinking about this is I think it's all about context.
What do you
And
mean?
I tell you what I mean by this is so this week I'm not allowed to do a lot of physical activity.
Hmm.
And because I'm not allowed, I'm like, that's fine. I need to sit and relax.
You
I
haven't
have
said I feel lazy.
no, I
Not at
have
all.
permission to
Mm.
do less. I have permission to take it easy. And if I'm probably milking it a little bit, but like if when after we were done, I didn't want to open the door. So I waited until someone opened the door for me, like I have permission to be lazy, so to speak.
Permission. Well, that's what I said at the beginning. Like I usually have to tell myself, yeah, you just sit down and do nothing for X amount of time. Be
But
lazy.
that's context. If you had
Yeah.
a day where you were not that busy, you would say, oh, I'm just really being lazy now.
Yeah, you're
Versus
right.
if you were busy the whole day and then you sat down for half an hour, you'd be like, oh, this is totally fine. I need this.
Hmm. Do you think some people are just more quote unquote prone to be okay with it than others?
What do you mean?
Like, do you think there are more people, some people that are just okay with just laying around and quote unquote being lazy than other people?
I think so. I mean, that probably is what they have learned, or
Mm.
their experiences have taught them that it's not worth the effort. I don't know. There's probably a whole host of
Yeah.
psychological reasons. What do you think?
I don't know. I was just thinking about people. I'm just thinking in my head about people I know and looking at them and thinking, like, God, they're not lazy, but I do know that they do just like to come home and unwind
Mm-hmm.
the rest of the night.
Yeah. I also read this thing that said if you consider yourself lazy, are you being asked to do too much?
Well, okay, I don't walk me through that one.
So if exercise was on your list, okay, for an
Okay.
example, and you're like, I'm so lazy, I can't get my exercise done. Maybe it's because you already walked 6, 7,000
Oh,
steps and you've done 100 errands in the day and you've been taxing your brain and you've been like doing all these things. Maybe it's too much.
yeah.
And maybe it has to be an activity that's more pleasurable. So if walking is dreadful for you or a workout class is awful, maybe, like gardening or dancing in the room or like anything more fun would be
Mm-hmm.
more enticing than, okay, now I have to go work out.
Or the amount of time too.
Yes. Yes. We talked about that before is if we're putting that pressure on ourselves and it just feels overwhelming, then we're not going to want to do it at all.
Right. Hmm. Interesting. Interesting thought. Say that again, that quote or the
If you consider yourself lazy, are you being asked to do too much?
okay. Wow. That's guess what? You need to write that down and on our call to actions, whenever somebody says that, that's the question we need to ask them.
Ah, yes, I agree.
Do you think that you're being asked to do too much?
So,
And I'm thinking of certain people that have said it, and yes, they're being asked to do too much during the
100%.
day at work.
Yes, 100%.
So
And
then they come home. Yep.
yeah,
Yes.
they also put too much pressure on themselves to do this for their neighbor and do this for their friend and to do this for their family. And then, like, they've done 100 things in their day, but at the end of the day, they don't really have enough energy.
Oh, that makes me a little sad, but I think it's important to point out
But those are all
to
good,
people.
positive things.
Yes, but it also makes me sad that they feel that they're lazy because do you know what I mean? Like that they didn't
Mm-hmm.
do whatever they needed to do for themselves.
Yeah. I was reading this thing about working out, which I thought was really a good because we were talking about working out. Is working out alone is not as engrossing. So if you have to do a class by yourself, you're like, gosh, I'm not going to go. This is terrible.
Hmm.
Versus if you might call yourself lazy because it's the wrong workout. So if you were going to a class with a person, first of all, you'd feel obligated to show up for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you might laugh and giggle and make fun. And then, like, the whole class is much more fun.
The word engrossing is really in my head. That's what you said, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it could
I
be
don't
true
know.
for any activity that we want to do for ourselves. Maybe it's if you're a people person, you're not really going to
Mhm.
want to do something alone. Or if you're a solo person, maybe you don't want to take a class.
Right.
Like, you have to know yourself.
Boy, that's the big theme about this whole word lazy, too.
Yes.
You have to know yourself and know the context, like you said before. When I'm saying that word, how is it coming across? Because my brain is listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're
Weren't you
saying
saying
in
you
it,
had, sorry, finish what you're saying.
no, I was just gonna say, if you say it in a negative context, then you're just feeling negative about yourself,
Yeah. Yes. Yes. That
right?
took me a minute to catch up to my brain. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's very true.
Wait, you were gonna say something too. You said
You
what you're gonna.
had before we started, you had said you had some synonyms.
Oh, I do. I have a couple synonyms. Um, Negative and positive thinking. Like, okay, so the first one is idle,
Okay.
which I like that. Like, I can come home and be idle for a little bit. That's my example.
Yes.
Shiftless.
What does that
I don't,
mean?
I don't know. That's what I underlined.
Shiftless.
Yeah.
Okay.
Loafing.
What? Loafing. Oh.
Loafing.
I
I've
immediately thought of bread. I don't know why.
loafing around. I don't know. I felt like that's an older word. Anyway, inactive.
Inactive. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And I think that's a negative. That gives me a
Hmm.
negative feeling.
Yeah.
Slothful. I didn't
Say
know that
that
was a
again.
word. I didn't know that was a word. Slothful. like the animal.
Slothful. Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
did not know that was a word, but it might be my new favorite word. Just saying.
Sloth-like. Yes.
Yeah, I'm very slothful today.
Yeah.
Inert,
Okay.
lax,
Okay.
negligent.
Ooh, that's a harsh one.
I know, but you could say, so let me just say it this way. Like maybe let's replace the word lazy and put that word in before you say it out loud because we're not negligent. If I was
No.
like that, I'm just so lazy tonight. I'm just so negligent tonight. No, what am I negligent on? Do you
No,
know what I
nothing.
mean?
Yeah.
So when you hear that, you're like, no, I'm not, I'm never really lazy. I guess you could
No.
say I'm negligent on some housework, but really I'm not. Well,
That's
yeah, I
not going
am.
anywhere.
I know, you're right.
It's waiting for you.
And the last one was do nothing.
Hmm.
So I think it's
Yeah.
important to look up synonyms sometimes and replace it and see how it sounds. Because like when I saw negligent, I was like, ugh. But when I heard sloth like, I'm like, I like that one. Yeah, sometimes I am sloth like.
And sometimes that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
If you were really being negligent of your responsibilities and what you needed to take care of or other people, then you could say, okay, you're being negligent.
mhm.
But this is not the case for the majority of people.
Mhm. I was just thought
Uh
of the lazy river. Have you ever been
huh.
on a lazy river?
Uh huh.
Where the whole point of a lazy river, from what I understand, is to just sit in a raft and float
Yeah.
around the lazy river, right? And lazy rivers aren't lazy anymore. Like my mom and I discuss this all the time. They're always filled with kids that are walking and playing on their tube and swimming under the tube and laying in their tube. They're no longer lazy rivers.
Okay.
Should be the only time that we use that word though, is like when you're literally just going, this is amazing. I'm so lazy.
But if you're being lazy, that means you're not doing anything. But if you're there enjoying the water
Yep.
and just relaxing, you're still doing something.
And that's okay then. You know what I mean?
Yes, it's necessary for us.
Yes. I don't know why that just popped in my head, but I think that that's the term of lazy that I love.
Yes, I
The
agree.
context.
Context matters.
Yeah, definitely.
So I did find a few tips. Take
Okay.
it for what they're worth. If they're good or not, I don't know. Um, Sometimes we need to do less, not more. So if you're overloaded, maybe you need to take something off your plate
Mm, okay.
because maybe the physical demands are too much. Get specific. So if you want to work out, say, I need to work out. Well, that's not specific enough.
No.
And we've
Right.
experienced that with our call to actions is if it the more specific it is, the more likely
Yeah.
it's going to get done. I mean, the thing you told me about taking measurements, that was so helpful to me because I was like, I know exactly what measurements to take now.
Hmm.
That helped. Make it fun.
That's what Paula said a while ago.
Yes, yes. Make it
Yeah.
fun.
Make it fun. If you can't wait, I forget what the first thing was, but the second question is, okay, then how do I make this fun?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Practice single tasking and taking tech-free breaks.
Oh,
So if you have one thing to do, just do the one thing. And I
okay.
think, okay, as a woman, I often laugh at a man who can't do more than one thing at a time, but I think that's probably the right way to go about it.
Don't say that out loud ever again. No, I'm just kidding. Don't.
I'm sorry.
Oh no. So you're saying the men are right here?
No, I'm saying that that technique is correct
Oh
for
no.
not feeling.
I'm already cringing because I always feel like I have to do four things at the same time. And I say, like, why can't you just do two things at once? And it's like impossible. And you're saying you think they're doing it right.
Well, like if they're talking on the phone, they're going to sit down and talk on the phone.
Yeah.
If you're talking on the phone,
No.
you've done five other
I'm
things.
usually grocery shopping or doing something else than doing dishes. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no.
Be
Don't
more
say
my
it.
I'm
So
sorry.
upset by the no. Go
But I
on.
think that's just because we have expectations that are very high for ourselves.
But I'm trying to figure out when you said that, like immediately I went to, well, how can we turn it? How can we do that?
How can we just do one thing at a time?
Yeah,
For me, that's not a realistic thing.
that's
I
what I
don't think it's
mean.
going to
Yeah.
happen. Yeah. But I'm okay with not doing it one thing at a time.
All right. Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Uh, be more mindful of what you're actually doing.
Be more mindful. Okay.
And then the last one, which I really like, is go easy on yourself.
That's easier said than done.
Yeah, that is true. That is something that has to be worked on long term, but I think it's good.
Mm-hmm. So just be kind.
Yes,
Be kind to yourself.
as much as you would to anybody else,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Very true. Yeah, because I would never call you lazy or my sister lazy or my mom or any, but I would call myself it.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes I think. Not
That's
all the
so
time,
harsh.
but like, oh, I just feel like being lazy.
I think there's a difference. So if you feel like being lazy or versus you are lazy,
Okay. Fair. Fair.
there's a different feeling to me. I don't know.
Hmm. But I think we're still more likely to call ourselves it than call somebody that we love it.
Oh yeah. Well, except for
Except for some people, yeah.
um yeah. Do you have a call to action?
I think I do. I think I really want to I really just want to be aware of when I think the thought in my head about the people around me. Because when we
Oh,
started this podcast and you said, do you judge other people for it? Immediately I said, yeah, and I
mm,
do.
yeah.
So
That's very honest.
I think I need to be more mindful of it. And now that I think this podcast helped me realize that one, the comfort level the minute they walk into the house is like I should be looking at it more as like they that's great that our home is that comforting to somebody that they just feel that way.
Mhm.
And at work, when I see somebody, I need to look at it as like one that like that just may be their way of doing things.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean, like you said, like your way is the quote unquote right way, but to who? To
To me.
you, right? Right.
Yeah.
So like I need to step back and go, just because they're not doing something the way I would do it doesn't mean that that person is lazy.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I think I just want to catch myself thinking about the lazy things going on in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
fair. My call to action is something you're probably going to say it's not connected, but that's fine because it doesn't have to be.
it doesn't have to
Um,
be.
right. I am going to go. What my intention has been this free for a long time, but I always make exceptions. I want to be dairy free. I think it would really help me digestively, with some of my
Complete
stomach.
like
Come
100.
100%.
Okay.
And I need to do it.
What stops you?
I like milk. I like cheese.
Mm,
If I could say I'm being lazy about finding alternatives, but I just like it.
hmm. Yeah, that
And
sounds so hard.
and sometimes there's not a really good alternative. I know there are like things you can use and eat and do, but some things like
Cheese is one that I just don't
yeah,
know. Even yogurt. I'm not a fan of the soy yogurts or the
yeah.
almond milk yogurts. I'm not.
And I know some people really love them, but I just need to stop consuming it. I think I would feel much better.
How long are you going to go for?
At least two
Just
weeks. That's what I
okay.
tell my clients. So that's what I would do for myself.
Okay. Do you have a plan?
I mean, I've partially started it, so the hard part's done. I
Okay.
just really need to follow through with consistency.
Okay.
And I don't know why, because I know I can do other things. I'm just making up reasons not to
You
because
just
I
don't
don't
want
really
you.
want to.
I was just gonna say, you really don't want to, right?
Yeah, I don't want to, and I need to. So I'm just gonna just do it.
I can't. I'm curious to see what you notice about when how you feel.
Yeah, I am too.
Do you think it's more intestinal or for your skin or what more?
Probably more intestinal for me. I
Okay.
eat and I get bloated, so I want to see what I can eliminate to get rid of that.
Okay. Oh, this is gonna be fun. I can't wait. And so no ice cream.
No, but I'm okay with that.
You that's not a problem for you.
For me, the problem is cheese more than anything and some yogurt.
Yeah, that's a good source of protein too.
Yeah, especially as vegetarian stuff.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, this is exciting. I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.